Welcome everybody to our Nomasis webinar. My name is Tiziano and I'm pleased to introduce to you Severin Freund, who will be presenting today. Today's webinar is about EBF contacts, and the session lasts about 25 until 30 minutes. Please notice that during the presentation your microphones will be set to mute, and you may post questions during the session through the chat function to the host, and the questions will then be answered by Severin at the end of the session. And now I'd like to hand over to Severin. Please start your presentation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Tiziano. Very welcome to today's Nomasis webinar. As Tiziano already introduced me, my name is Severin Freund. I am working at Nomasis for about 2.5 years now, and I'm currently mobile security engineer. Today, we'll have a look at a new possibility to manage your employees' corporate contacts on mobile devices. The solution is called EBF contacts, and there's a specific reason for the existence of EBF contacts, because in the past, managing company contacts on mobile devices has not always been that easy, especially since more and more companies move to Office 365 and Outlook as a mail app. Many start to sync their company contacts either only in Outlook, or they started to sync it on the iOS side at least with private iCloud accounts, which can lead to some different issues. Maybe you have multiple duplicate contacts, or the company contacts are gone missing fully on the device. And EBF contacts wants to address those issues. We had many pain points in the past, as I already talked a bit about how we manage contacts on the devices. I present you with a short list about some of those. So one issue could be that if a coworker calls you, oftentimes you will not be able to identify the coworker because you don't have their number saved on your device in your personal contacts. Of course, we as admins and companies often don't want you to save all of the contacts of your colleagues in the personal book, or it at least takes a lot of maintenance to do that for every employee. And another one is keeping the corporate address book up to date always. So if you need to do it manually, every time somebody joins the company, somebody leaves the company, it's just a lot of work to do. Then another one is sometimes if a colleague is on holidays or if he's gone for the day, you sometimes just want to see who's the line manager of this colleague, to quickly contact their manager and see if they know somebody else that knows it, or maybe you just want to quickly search their team or their department for another colleague that would probably know your question's answer. Most of that at the moment requires manual upkeep. So most of them at the employee, at the end user stage, where they need to save the contacts of their colleagues. Maybe in a small company like Nomasis, that's possible for 20 contacts or something. But in a larger company, that's really a lot of effort to do for every single user to at least get their team or their direct mates to be saved in their contacts. So what are you going to do about that? We can get to the agenda of today's webinar now and have a look at a possible solution. That could be EBF contacts. Together, we're going to have a look at what EBF is and what EBF contacts is and which solution it can provide for us. We'll discuss main use cases for the app and check the requirements, what we need to integrate the solution. Then we'll have a short look at the setup process on the end user side, how it looks to set up the app, how long does it take, what do we need to do, just for you also to get a look and feel of how this app works, of what it's capable of and whatnot. And in the end, we're going through a round of question and answers. I'm happy to try to answer all of your questions you might have. You can either send them in the Teams chat during the presentation, or just in the end, in the Q&A, ask me directly if you want. Right, what is EBF? EBF is an EMEA partner from us in Germany. So we have different partners in all around Europe, at least. EBF is a partner in Germany, and they developed this app, EBF Contact, and also other solutions, EBF Files, for instance, which is similar to Docs at Work, if you know Docs at Work. They created an app that you can manage corporate contacts. You see in the top left, it connects to the Exchange server, to the global address list of your company. It is available only for iOS because we only see those issues with managing contacts more on the iOS side. On Android, we have nice features with the work profile, with a cross work profile caller ID lookup, where we don't really need to manage the contacts in the same way as we need on iOS. So this EBF Contacts is very iOS specific. We have a similar solution that works for both, but doesn't have all the nice features EBF Contacts holds. Then on the bottom left, the contacts are stored encrypted locally. So the end user will set a password, encrypt the contacts, so they're not in the same address book as the personal ones, and also external Exchange contacts that you might have in your Outlook, they're all also synced to EBF Contacts. It synchronizes regularly every time you open the app, and also during when it's in the background, and it's also available offline. Nowadays, most of the time you will be connected either way, but it's still nice to have them available offline as well. Right. So the use cases mainly. Here you already see some sneak peek into the app, how it looks, and the main use cases are first to search contacts. Everybody that's in your company, of course, and also you can search everybody that you saved in your Outlook contacts list. So you can use name, company email, telephone numbers. You can also search for departments. As you see here, you can, for instance, you can search for operations team or MASAP team on our side, and you can just view everybody that's in this team, and quickly, as you see in the second picture, you can email them, you can video call them on their business phone number, mobile number, whatever you need, or just message them by SMS if you want. And yeah, if it's not possible to reach any of your colleagues, you have this manager down here. For instance, my manager is Nicola up here. You can quickly go to the manager of somebody. That's pretty nice feature in my eyes. So you can easily see who's their superior. One of the main features and of the most important features, and why we like EBF Contact so much, is the caller ID lookup. So you will see that in the third picture here. As soon as somebody calls from within your company, EBF Contacts is going to recognize that that's somebody from your company, and will then show the name and, of course, the company name in the back, so you can easily see if there's somebody calling you from within the company. So that's even without having the contact in your personal phone book. if you, in addition, have the contact in your personal phone book and EBF contacts, it's just gonna show the name at the top and then Severin Freund and the bottom EBF as well. So that's a pretty neat feature, especially if you have lots of colleagues, a larger company, that's really helpful. But I think even in small companies, that's really a good feature. Then we also have the same app in light mode. It depends on your settings in iOS, so that's pretty cool. It switches dark and light mode. For me, a big requirement at least. Right. Some other features you can search for are the departments, if there's, like teams, or you can also choose to search for Active Directory groups, which is for me at least sometimes helpful. But mainly it's a contact book for all of your colleagues within a company and the personal ones that you have of external contacts. Right. So what do we need for that? Technical requirements. It doesn't need a lot. It's able to connect to Exchange Office 365, Exchange Online, of course, and on-premise Exchange servers from 2016 plus. Right, so it's available for iOS and iPadOS. It's in the public app store, of course, and we can easily distribute it using an app configuration and integrate it without a server. So it's just an one app solution, no server required. It integrates quite easily with many solutions. From our side, it's working really nice together with Intune, Microsoft Endpoint Manager, or Ivanti's Mobile Iron. We've already tested it and used it with both of those, working really good there. And it's not like a lengthy implementation. It's really something that can be a small project to implement EBF contacts that we've already done with some of our customers, and they really liked it until now. The authentication is using password, mainly for the encryption of the contact data. And you can then later on at the setup, you can just select Touch ID or Face ID, so you don't need to enter the password always. So that's really cool. Encrypted contact information just with Face ID. That's really cool. And also a nice feature is it's everything distributed from within our UEM solution. So if an employee leaves the company at some point, EBF contacts will leave with him, of course, and he will still have those contacts that he saved manually in his private phone book. But EBF contacts and all the contacts within the company are gone then, which lets you as an admin manage contacts better for end users. Right, the setup on an end user's device. So let's assume we've done all the configuring. An end user downloads or the app is pushed onto the device. The first time you open EBF contacts, it's going to start with the setup of the caller identification. So there it just opens the settings. The end user either activates it or doesn't activate it. That's dependent on what the end user wants, but out of my perspective, it really makes sense to enable it, to really have this caller ID look up when somebody calls you, but it's not mandatory. Then we're going to set a password. That's for the encryption of the contacts and also later on used to sign into EBF contacts if you don't want to use Face ID or Touch ID for some reason. And then you're actually forwarded to Office 365 sign-in, where you sign into your account and basically get access to the global address list and first time download it. So some more to the look and feel. The second time you start EBF contacts, it's going to ask you if you want to use Face ID. I actually ticked OK here. So it easily, if you open it, it easily signs in with Face ID, downloads the newest contacts if there's anything to sync. And here you see actually one more basic overview of how it looks. And the two right examples are two examples of how it looks when somebody calls you. The second one is in locked screen. So you'll just have the number, EBF contacts, and the name of the person. And the second time is in unlocked state, where you can just see the same as well. And that's of course only if you have activated the caller ID lookup on the device. If not, if you don't activate it, it's basically just a contact app that's always up to date with your work contacts. All right, so I want to thank you all for joining today's webinar. If you have any further questions regarding EBF contacts, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'll blend in the information right here where you can contact us, or you can contact me directly, of course, if you would like. And many thanks for joining, and I wish you all a great afternoon and evening. Thanks a lot.
Thank you also from my side, and thank you all for joining, and have a nice day.